Good afternoon, everyone. We'll just give it a few more minutes to wait for a few more people to join, and then we'll get started. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started with the webinar now. It's a real pleasure for us to be here today to talk to you about the perspectives on the multiple benefits of energy efficiency for ASEAN, a topic that is on the top of the IEA's agenda. I'd like to thank the ASEAN Centre for Energy for their support in organising this webinar, the first of many webinar collaborations to come. My name is Emily McQuilter, and I'll be moderating and delivering this webinar today alongside my colleague Edith Bayer. We work for the Energy Efficiency Division of the International Energy Agency. I'd also like to introduce our colleague from the ASEAN Centre for Energy, Mr. Rio John Peter Silatonga. Rio is a technical officer for the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation, APAEC, program, and he'll be also speaking this afternoon. Here is the agenda for today. We'll have a short introduction on the webinar platform, followed by a welcome remarks from the ASEAN Centre for Energy. Edith, Rio, and I will then give the presentation on the multiple benefits of energy efficiency, followed by time for questions. We very much want you to participate in the webinar and encourage you to post comments and questions in the comment box throughout the webinar. This slide shows you a snapshot of the attendee interface you should be able to see on your computer. There are two ways to connect to the audio of the webinar. One is through your computer's audio system. Alternatively, if you would like to call in by phone, locate your audio pane and select Use Telephone. Please enter your questions in English in the questions panel as they come to you, and we'll try to get to as many of them following the webinar. Please note that we're also recording the webinar and we'll make the link available for those who have missed it, along with a link to the PowerPoint presentation. And after the webinar, we'll hold a short survey, estimated to take 2 minutes. The survey serves to help us improve our webinar and to be sure to improve our coming webinars. So please look out for that in your email. So next I'd like to introduce Adela Matthias Latimer, the Technical Officer from the ASEAN German Energy Program at the ASEAN Centre for Energy, to say a few introductory words. Over to you, Adela.
Hi, yes, thank you so much, Emily. So hi everyone, my name is Adela and I'm a technical officer in the ASEAN Center for Energy. And so this is the first joint webinar by ACE and IEA, and we in ACE would like to thank you very much, IEA, especially Emily and Edith, for arranging this. And hopefully this will lead to many more collaborations in the future. So now I'm giving a presentation on the various projects and programs that ASEAN is doing in the energy efficiency sector as an introduction to this webinar on the multiple benefits of energy efficiency. Next, please. So just a little bit on the ASEAN Center for Energy, or ACE. So we are an independent intergovernmental organization within the ASEAN nation, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, that represents the interest of the 10 ASEAN member states, or AMS, in the energy sector. So we in ACE have 3 significant roles. The first is to be a think tank to assist the AMS through the ASEAN energy challenges on policies and technologies. And the second one is to be a catalyst to unify and strengthen the ASEAN energy cooperation and integration. And the third is to be the ASEAN Energy Data Center and Knowledge Hub for the AMS. And in here, ACE supports the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation, or the APAC, as the regional energy blueprint with the aim to enhance energy connectivity and market integration in ASEAN. So we hope that this will bring energy security, accessibility, affordability, and sustainability in the ASEAN member states. So the ASEAN have both RE and EE at renewable energy and energy efficiency targets, with the EE target to reduce energy intensity in the region by 20% in 2020 and 30% in 2025 from 2005 levels. And with this target in mind, the APAC has adopted energy efficiency and conservation as one of the program areas to enhance the development of EENC policy and implementation in the region. Next, please. Yep, so these are the outcome-based strategies or objectives, as you will, in support of the EENC program area in APAC. So the first is the harmonization and promotion of energy efficiency standards and labeling on various kinds of energy-related products. And the second is to enhance private sector participation, including the energy service companies, or ESCOs, for EENC promotion. And the third is to develop green building codes, which could support the use of high energy efficient products. And last but not least is to enhance the participation of financial institutions in EENC development. Next, please. And I will go through the programs and projects that we have related to the outcome-based strategies one by one. So for the first outcome-based strategy for the harmonization of EE standards, we have the ASEAN Shine for Air Conditioner program with the objective to remove the non-tariff barriers for ease of equipment trade within ASEAN. And the result of this study was an ASEAN policy roadmap, as you can see in the picture, to reach the harmonization of minimal energy performance standards, or MAPs. Aside from this publication, there are also individual policy roadmaps for 7 AMS. And for the harmonization for EE labeling, we have the ASEAN +3 mitigation program with the objective to establish EE&C labeling for boilers and refrigerators in CLM countries, or Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. Next, please. And for the second outcome-based strategy, to enhance the private sector participation in EE&C, we have the ASEAN-Japan Energy Efficiency Partnership, or AJEP, where we train energy managers from the AMS and certificate them under the AJEP scheme 2, as seen in the picture. Whereas we also have AJEP scheme 3, where there are workshops to establish EE&C regulatory framework in Cambodia and Laos. Next, please. Still on the second outcome-based strategy, this is one of ACE's own publications supporting the outcome-based strategy 2, which is a comprehensive review on energy service company, or ESCO, development in each AMS. So this report hopes to encourage the establishment of more energy service companies in the region. And next, for the outcome-based strategy 3, we are developing a mapping of green building codes and building energy efficiency in ASEAN as a preliminary study to create a guideline on ASEAN green building codes. So this report, which is still under development, includes individual country review on green building codes, followed by policy and technical recommendation. And the next one, to enhance the participation of financial institutions in EE&C, we are again collaborating with Japan for the project on financing mechanism design for EE&C projects implementation. So the first activity is to identify the available financing schemes for EE&C projects in the region and to analyze the framework condition underlying the identified schemes. And based on these framework conditions, policy recommendations are generated to encourage more EE&C projects in ASEAN. Next. Next, please. Oh, okay. Sorry, this is the one with GIZ. So still under outcome-based strategy 4. Sorry, can you go to the previous slide? Yes, this one. So we have another energy efficiency financing project, and this time it's a collaboration with the GIZ. And this study reviews the existing financing mechanism in the region, which then becomes the basis to choose several countries, namely Malaysia and Thailand, to develop guidelines on how to access the schemes and funds in the countries for EE&C projects. Yes, next, please. So these are pretty much the current programs that we have related to EE&C. And now I'm going to take the time a little bit to introduce a session in our upcoming event related to EE&C, which is the ASEAN Energy Business Forum, or ABF. So this event is an annual event which will be held back-to-back with the ASEAN Ministerial Energy Meetings and associated meetings, and ACE will be the lead coordinator. And this time, the event will be hosted by Singapore, specifically in Marina Bay Sands from 29 to 30 October 2018. For this year's conference theme, we will focus on interconnecting energy for an integrated and competitive ASEAN. And further information on this forum particularly can be found on this link, the aebf.aseanenergy.org, and you can also register there. And this is one of the sessions that we have. So session 3, we will be focusing on low carbon initiative to develop sustainable energy in ASEAN. which will be chaired by Dr. Victor Nian, a research fellow from the National University of Singapore. And in this session particularly, we are focusing on energy efficiency, which are the first presentation will be on zero energy building in Japan, presented by Mr. Hajime Moro, who is the head of the ASEAN Zero Energy Building Dissemination Working Group. And the second presentation will be on the ASEAN Collaborative Platform for Energy Regulations and Energy Efficiency Standards, which will be presented by Mr. Baek Chi-jin, the Project Director for the International Copper Association, Southeast Asia. So hopefully this event can enhance more awareness of the importance of EENC activities and encourage more project implementations on EENC, so that the region can also feel the multiple benefits resulting from such activities. Thank you so much. I will end my presentation here, and I will give the floor back to IEA. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adela. Now let's start the presentation on the multiple benefits of energy efficiency. So let's start by setting the stage. Meeting energy demand in a secure, affordable, and sustainable manner is a common challenge that many countries in the world face today. However, the pressures of the energy sector in Southeast Asia are particularly powerful. Strong economic and population growth, allied to structural trends such as urbanization, points towards a rapid expansion in demand for energy. Energy demand in Southeast Asia is expected to double by 2040. The agenda facing Southeast Asia's government is not a simple one. Constraining growth in consumption through policies on the demand side, encouraging adequate investment in new energy supply infrastructure, and mitigating concerns over security of supply, improving air quality and curbing growth in emissions, and expanding access to modern energy service for the millions of people that remain without it. Policymakers across Southeast Asia are making strenuous efforts to address these issues, but tackling multiple challenges simultaneously is never easy, and potential solutions differ among countries depending on the national circumstances. So on a global scale, this graph here shows the global final energy consumption with and without energy efficiency. Without energy efficiency, the world would have used over 12% more energy in 2017, equivalent to the entire energy use of the European Union. Energy intensity is the measure of the energy efficiency of a nation's economy. It is calculated as units of energy per unit of GDP. Preliminary estimates are that global energy intensity improved by 1.7% in 2017, compared to 2.6% improvements in 2015. Annual rates of improvements must rise to 3.2% for a more sustainable world. Our analysis shows that large energy efficiency gains only happen in countries where strong mandatory policy that sets targets and performance requirements enforce policies and track progress. We track the amount of global energy use that is covered by mandatory policies. We can see here for a section of end users that policy coverage is variable. Lighting, which is up here, has a very high coverage owing to the number of standards and frequency with which lighting fixtures are changed. Cars, electric motors, and space heating also show high coverage, which you can see here. Now, when we look at the global total, we see that in 2016, we saw policy coverage grow to about 30% of global energy use. That's doubled over the past decade. While coverage has grown, it remains a stark reminder that 70% of global energy use is not covered by mandatory energy efficiency policies, and indeed policy progress varies widely among countries. But even more worrying is that what we found when we examined what's driving this growth in policy coverage. There are two factors that drive policy coverage. The first is the implementation of new or strengthened policies. The other factor is pre-existing policies, which cover the replacement of old appliances and vehicles that were in the market before policies were put in place. When we examine the effects of these two factors, we found that we owe the efficiency gains of today's to policies of the past. The rate of implementation of new policies has slowed down dramatically. In 2016, the contribution of new policies to coverage growth was virtually zero, and there were also minimal increases in the strength of existing policies. Unless governments act quickly to deliver new policies, all of this progress we have been discussing here will start to erode at a time when we need to see an acceleration. Now let's look at the benefits of energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is key to ensuring a safe, reliable and affordable sustainable energy system for the future. It's one energy resource that every country possesses in abundance and is the quickest and least costly way of addressing energy security, environment and economic challenges. There are many benefits to energy efficiency, and we refer to these as the multiple benefits of energy efficiency, which look beyond capturing the traditional measures of reduced energy demand and lower greenhouse gas emissions. Energy efficiency can support a range of other benefits, such as energy access, improving or decreasing local air pollution, and improved health and well-being. Most of the benefits highlighted in this flower here that you can see on the screen are relevant to all countries, although prioritization by individual countries is likely to vary. Overall, experts increasingly acknowledge the important role of energy efficiency in generating a broad range of outcomes that support the ambition to improve wealth and welfare, goals that the public as well as policymakers both understand and aspire to achieve. So also, in 2014, we released a book, a publication called Capturing the Multiple Benefits of Energy Efficiency, which you can see on your slide. And this explains the multiple benefits in more detail, and you can download this for free on our website. So now I'm going to hand it over to our colleague Rio Silatonga to talk about some of the benefits in ASEAN and why it's really important to push energy efficiency.
Yeah, thank you, Emily, for introducing me. So I'm Rio from the ASEAN Center for Energy. Good afternoon, everyone. So I would like to continue giving you and highlight what actually the multi-benefits of energy efficiency on the perspective of ASEAN and why ASEAN need to push energy efficiency in this region. So as you can see on the slide, this slide just briefly to show you what actually reasons for ASEAN in order to really push forward the energy efficiency in this region. I think Emily and also my colleague Adela have already explained briefly about what is the importance of energy efficiency. Even energy efficiency brings several benefits to economic and to social. Sometimes the markets and also the policymakers efficiently capture these value or benefits. So this is the importance of this webinar in order we can really encourage and also disseminate what is the importance of energy efficiency benefits. So from my perspective of ASEAN's reason to push energy efficiency, I would like to bring on the perspective of positive externality. So the positive externality is the cost of benefit that affects a party within a choose or to include that cost or benefit. This section briefly illustrates the large importance of externalities in energy efficiency, since it provides external benefits or imposes external costs in addition to financial outcomes and also to energy challenge in ASEAN as follows. Energy system will be challenged in the medium and long-term period with the advance of ASEAN economic community and also economic growth and trade pacts. So energy efficiency improvements allows ASEAN member states to produce more GDP for each energy consumed. And also ASEAN cannot rely solely on its own resources such as coal and gas. So it's obviously energy efficiency to be one of the energy sources that every country possesses in abundance. And also oil imports will rise in the regions and make the region more vulnerable to external shocks. So EU will play the vital role in order to satisfy the growing energy demand or energy security in the region. And also current path will swim emissions. On this extent, EU is seen as a cost-effective tool for sustainable economic growth and the reduction of greenhouse emissions. For example, I would like to bring, for instance, how ultra-supercritical power plant in Malaysia are able to contribute 10% or 4 to 5% of emission reduction of 1,000 megawatt power plant. And also the challenges on the affordability and accessibility of energy in ASEAN. So energy efficiency is an alternative tool in order to boost up also the accessibility and affordability of energy. And also some multi-dimension energy challenges that needs multi-pronged approach in ASEAN region. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. So, next, please. Emily, I'm sorry, can you? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my previous slide talking about what actually the reason why energy efficiency need to be pushed forward. I'm sorry, can we back to the previous slide? So yeah, when talking about the determinants of energy efficiency, so it's also important to see the role of a policy. Yeah, in ASEAN, ASEAN member state has already, some ASEAN members that have established already some regulation also target. This is been proven to be the key driver to achieve energy saving across sectors in ASEAN, also interlinked benefit concerning economic growth, energy security, and environmental impact. Most governments have enacted a series of laws, acts, or regulations setting priorities for energy conservation and assigned function or created agency with a mandate to develop strategies and mechanisms to ensure the rational use of energy in all sectors. In addition, some AMS have established aims to promote EE, calling for energy saving targets and implementation for ENC measures. This table also shows setting measurable targets in ASEAN member states as a key to guiding and coordinating energy policy intervention. It also helps to keep track of policy progress. This slide also shown that all member states have set up the national energy efficiency target either on the mandatory and the voluntary basis. Some of the target based on the energy intensity compared to the GDP growth. Some of them refer to the energy saving based on certain baselines, as you can see in the slide. Next, please. So I would like to also to bring what actually are the key determinants of energy efficiency in ASEAN in 4 dimensions. We are talking about policy and also some challenging of energy in ASEAN. So this is 4 key important aspects that I want to bring forward energy efficiency into realizations. The first one is a policy. Policy and regulation are mandating and energy efficiency currently cover some ASEAN energies, as I mentioned before. Example, a national standard for home appliances and building code. Many ASEAN member states and also in ASEAN, we have already set a target to have harmonized maps by 2020. So this is then really this is then a forcing policy in the market in order to be more efficient and also to be transformed to more efficient market. And the second one is technology development. Technological developments constantly enable to improve energy efficiency, obviously. For example, with maps and also building code that force the efficient building will be in the market. And also the third one is financial. Financial incentive also very crucial to tap the full potential of energy efficiency, where access to financial is still limited in ASEAN. But but in some ASEAN, financings has been mobilized effectively. For example, in Singapore, the building energy retrofit financing provides financial assistance to building owners who would like to achieve the green building BCI green standard. And also the last factors is attitudes or awareness. So awareness or attitudes impact behavior. Hence, consumer can boost energy efficiency by behavioral change, such switching the efficient, also switching such as the switching the efficient lighting and so on. So these four key important factors is the determinants of energy efficiency in ASEAN to see the benefits in the realizations. Next, please. And this is just a mapping of the status of the energy efficiency policy in ASEAN in the mandatory and voluntary. As I mentioned before, in ASEAN, there are some IMS have been already put all the policy in the mandatory, but in some ASEAN still in the voluntary basis in three main sectors like commercial, industry, and also commercial and also residential. Next, please. Next, please. And this is the projections of this is the achievement of the energy intensity development in ASEAN, and also the projected energy efficiency benefits by 2024. As you can see on the slide, this projection show that ASEAN is well on track to reach the target. In particular, the medium-term 2020 component of the target is reached in all scenarios, exceeding the target by 5% in BAU, 8% in ATS, and also 9% in advanced policy scenario. Furthermore, the long-term 2025 component, the energy intensity is reduced 29% in 2025, and in BAU, thereby missing the target with a gap 1%. However, it exceeds by 5% and 8% in ATS and APS respectively. Next, please. This is then an indication how actually the benefits of energy efficiency can decouple the economic and also the energy consuming. You can see from this slide how the stronger GDP growth can be an indicator of industry transitions, while GDP grows strongly for rather than the total primary energy supply. Next, please. Next, please. This slide I would like to briefly give you a brief information about the ASEAN energy intensity development per sector, comprising from a sector from commercial, industry, and agriculture. So industry itself representing about 20% of ASEAN total primary energy supply. So this slide showing that the growth of industry strongly lower, slightly lower than commercial sectors. This means there is a shift of energy or transition of energy from low value added to high value added, and this also can provide a perspective on how the ASEAN member state can produce more GDP per unit energy consumed as one of the benefits of energy efficiency. Energy efficiency. This is also the trends of energy efficiency improvement in industry, using the gross domestic product from 2005 to 2025. Next, please. Next, please. For the commercial sectors, this is the trends from 2005 to 2015 in ASEAN region, energy intensity improvement. So if you see the trends of the figures, this also able to give a perspective how efficiently the living standard can be enhanced from the viewpoint of energy efficiency. Well, if we take on the perspective, while GDP equal to gross production plus total value of income. Next, please. In agriculture also, this is one of the energy intensive use in ASEAN. This is one of the sectors that use extensively the energy in ASEAN region, according to the publications phase. So ASEAN has, sorry, can you get to the previous presentation? So ASEAN has been put already, some commitment in order to promote to improve technology in agriculture also, in this sector, in order to enjoy the benefits of energy efficiency and also for the productivity in the sectors. Next, please. And what actually the drivers behind the ASEAN energy intensity reduction? So this is kind of methodology being used by ASEAN Center for Energy to see perspective of the drivers behind the ASEAN energy intensity reduction. As you see, ASEAN has been achieved 18.6% of energy intensity reduction in 2015 compared to 2005 level, year 2005. So looking from parameter of activity, energy intensity, and also structure changing. So this is kind of the factors. While structure changing is the main highest factor that drive the energy intensity reduction in ASEAN. So ASEAN now, ASEAN industry are shifting to be more extensive production industry to more services industry, and also followed by the intensity of activity in industry and also energy intensity reduction for total final energy consumption. Next, please. Next, please.
So let's look now into more detail at some of the specific benefits of energy efficiency. This slide is from IEA's 2017 Energy Efficiency Market Report, and I'll just mention that our 2018 Energy Efficiency Market Report will be released this Friday, so we'll have a new one that you can look at. The slide serves to demonstrate the economic value of reduced energy intensity. The numbers that you see represent the difference between actual GDP and the lower GDP that would have been had energy intensity stayed at the previous year's level. And this is something that we refer to as an energy productivity bonus. The amount totaled US $2.2 trillion US, or twice the size of the Australian economy in 2017. And as you can see, the energy productivity bonus in China was larger than that of any other country at just over $1.1 trillion. In the US, it amounted to just over 500 billion. Combined, the two countries accounted for over 3/4 of the total world bonus. Energy efficiency effectively drives down greenhouse gas emissions. In this slide, the graph on the right shows that in 2016, the global energy savings from efficiency improvements since 2000 had led to a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions of just over 4 billion tons of carbon dioxide. To put it another way, without these efficiency improvements, emissions in 2016 would have been 12.5% higher, which is what you see demonstrated by the graph on the left, the difference between the solid line and the dotted line. Of these emission savings, 47% came from major emerging economies, which is a bit more than the 45% that came from IEA member countries. While energy efficiency may not be a subject that gets many people out of bed in the morning, energy security is very often at the top of national policy agendas and is very relevant to the ASEAN region, as we heard from Rio a bit earlier. Energy efficiency is a valuable tool that can significantly improve energy security. The most obvious example of this was the push to improve energy efficiency around the world during the oil crises in the 1970s. This slide reflects the effect that energy efficiency has had on reducing expenditures on imports by fuel in several countries and regions. So for example, as you can see in the EU, energy efficiency led to a reduction in energy imports of $27 billion US, which is equivalent to about 10% of total spending on energy imports. And in Japan, you see the total was almost $19 billion, or 15% of total spending on energy imports. Avoided imports in the United States were low because of its large share of domestic production of coal, oil, and gas. Increased efficiency does not necessarily mean increased costs. In fact, for some appliances like refrigerators shown here, costs can decrease even as the efficiency of the appliance improves. So customers in this case save twice, once when purchasing the lower cost appliance and again through lower energy bills. Electricity accounts for the largest share of the increase in final consumption in Southeast Asia due to growing levels of appliance ownership and increasing demand for cooling. So you can imagine that the trend will be similar in that you have increasing volumes which drive down production costs, and at the same time there's an opportunity to improve energy savings. So in this slide, to illustrate, this slide focuses on refrigerators in the US from 1972 to 2016. And you see the energy use of average household refrigerators that are subject to minimum energy performance standards in red. So that's the red line drops steeply, and the arrows represent when a new standard was introduced. So you can see kind of steep drops after the arrows. You see the volume of refrigerators in blue, and in green, you see the refrigerator price. And so you can see that prices have gone down gradually as the volume of refrigerators has gone up, while average energy use is reduced considerably, triggered by the introduction of minimum energy performance standards. So a good illustration of the role of MEPS on appliance efficiency, but also not necessarily leading to increased prices. Another important benefit of energy efficiency is the potential to reduce air pollution. Air pollution is a serious public health problem in many large cities in the world, including in the city that we're sitting in right now, in Paris, where the IEA is based. So this slide comes from a report prepared by the IEA in 2016 that focused on the link between energy and air pollution. Air pollution is one of the world's single biggest environmental risks to human health, with 1 in 9 deaths linked to poor indoor or outdoor air quality. The World Health Organization estimates that 92% of the world's population lives in locations where local air pollution exceeds WHO limits. The sources, of course, of harmful air pollution will vary by country and region. Chief among them are biomass used for cooking, kerosene for lighting, transport, coal used for power, and others. This chart shows estimates of the premature deaths caused by outdoor air pollution in several countries, including China, India, Indonesia, Brazil, South Africa, and Mexico. The blue bars are estimates for 2015, and the yellow bars are projections for 2040 if no further action is taken. The point of showing this slide today is to explain that energy efficiency is the quickest and cheapest action we can take to address air pollution. This report, which is available online at no cost, includes a clean air scenario, which includes a number of measures that can be taken to bring the pollution levels much closer to WHO or into WHO compliance. And it includes, as one of the key measures, more than doubling the rate of energy savings compared to the base or new policies scenario. We also see evidence that energy efficiency, particularly energy efficiency lighting here, can lead to additional public benefits. These photos are from the Nova Scotia Street Lighting Demonstration Project in Canada, where 1,100 LEDs were installed. They illustrate better lighting levels achieved through installation of the street lights. And as you can see, the lights are not just more energy efficient, they're better. They're brighter, the light itself is easier to see. Now, there still aren't enough studies looking into the full benefits of efficient street lighting programs, but here are a couple of more examples. This photo is taken from a pilot project in Mexico City, which installed efficient lighting in schools. As you can see in the pictures, which I've been assured in person reflects a real difference, not just a different filter on the camera, the more efficient lighting on the right improved safety in the school corridors at night. So safety is another benefit of efficient lighting. And this photo also comes from the same pilot project. In this case, it's more efficient lighting in the classroom, which demonstrates how better lighting in schools can also improve student performance. Energy efficiency can also lead to a number of benefits. In this example, I want to talk about an example in India. The slide is taken from a presentation that shows the results of an innovative ESCO in India called Jewel Assets that implements energy efficiency projects in large hospitals around the country. The company undertakes a whole host of measures that, in addition to meeting and often exceeding guaranteed energy savings goals, improve many other aspects of the facilities. So this is one of my favorite examples that I've seen because it shows the result of modernizing buildings operation systems, often with more efficient equipment, but also with more efficient design. So in this case, this whole area that you see that has equipment in it was freed up by more efficient design and is now space that's used as a clinic offering patient services. And at the same time, the building is operating more efficiently. So the benefits can be really broad. Some benefits from efficiency in hospitals include operational cost savings to the hospital, increased life of equipment, which leads to capital cost savings. You get improved reliability and comfort, better indoor air quality, and many other benefits. Energy efficiency can also help companies save money. It can improve competitiveness, and over time it can help identify further areas for energy savings. Two recent examples from the Unggaran Sari Garments, USG, and Apakinti, both textile manufacturers in Indonesia. Both companies have introduced energy management systems into their operations. This includes energy audits, assessments, and training programs. The drivers for undertaking these measures included the cost of energy and a commitment to sustainability by the companies. By conducting energy audits to identify the potential for energy savings and then implementing the energy savings measures, these companies have realized a number of benefits. These include $1.7 million in savings for Apakinti. It includes a reduction of approximately 9.4% in the energy required to produce a garment, and an overall production increase of about 10.8% at USG. In both facilities, we see reduced environmental impact, decreased maintenance costs, and general shifts in company culture that recognize the benefits of energy savings. So I'd just like to make a brief point on the importance of measuring the benefits of energy efficiency. When we talk about the many benefits of energy efficiency, it's important to take a moment to remember the importance of data and indicators. Data and indicators are essential tools to effectively address challenges like air pollution, safety, to increase competitiveness, and to integrate energy efficiency into energy planning as an energy resource. For example, to address air quality problems, it's important to have data on the levels of harmful pollutants like PM 2.5, nitrogen oxides, benzoapyrene. And it's also important to have data on fuel combustion and consumption patterns. Only then can you understand the nature of the health risk, how serious it is, and also how to address it. Which sector do you address? Which sector are the pollutants coming out of? This slide comes from an IEA publication that's titled Energy Efficiency Indicators Essentials for Policymaking, also available for free on our website. And it shows the breakdown of indicators that IEA collects information on by end-use sector. So you see here residential, services, industry, transport, and other. These indicators are an important step towards understanding how energy is being consumed and helping to both frame and then to track energy efficiency policies. So every country, of course, will be in a different place in terms of the availability and quality of data and indicators. This is true across the board. The important point to keep in mind is that wherever you are today, it's important to strive for constant improvement in this area because it's really fundamental to setting effective policies and being able to track and demonstrate progress.
Thanks, Edith, and also thanks, Rio. I just want to finalize our presentation today, and before I move on to the Q&A session, I'd like to just summarize the key points from our presentation. So energy efficiency is really about modernizing and growing. The benefits of energy efficiency go far beyond energy and greenhouse gas emission savings. Energy efficiency is really about energy independence, about improved air quality, improved health, and more money for consumers, to name a few. So energy efficiency should also be part of an integrated strategy to meet a broad range of policy goals. And it's also important as a policymaker to find a multiple benefit of energy efficiency that really resonates with your leaders. Because sometimes energy efficiency can be a hard sell. So finding something beyond energy savings or greenhouse gas measures can sometimes really make the difference. There's also some challenges. There are limited evidence and evaluation looking at the multiple benefits, particularly in emerging economies. And there's also a lack of methodologies for evaluation of certain multiple benefits. So it's still a kind of emerging area of work. And we'd really love, we've listed some examples here today of some really interesting multiple benefit case studies we've found. But if you have any additional, we'd love to hear from you. And you might have noticed that the multiple benefits of energy efficiency really align with the Sustainable Development Goals, like such things as health and well-being, energy access, savings, macroeconomic development, energy security, income, environmental sustainability. So I just wanted to leave you on the point that, you know, without addressing improving energy efficiency, it's going to be difficult for us to achieve some of the Sustainable Development Goals. And energy efficiency can really help achieve those. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the multiple benefits of energy efficiency, I suggest that you read some of the publications mentioned today, but also encourage you to register your interest in an upcoming conference hosted by the Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific. They're hosting an event in late October next year, and it's will provide an excellent opportunity to network with policymakers in the region, but also get a more detailed understanding of how to measure the multiple benefits of energy efficiency. So please check out their website. So that brings us to the conclusion of our webinar, our first webinar for Southeast Asia in collaboration with the ASEAN Centre for Energy. I'd like to thank you and thank all the speakers and everyone for joining this webinar today. As I mentioned at the beginning, we'll be sending out via email a short survey, and we very much appreciate your feedback on the webinar, and we encourage you to suggest future topics. We'll also email you all the presentation and a link to where it can be found online. So now we've got about 10 minutes left or so. Well, yep, 10 minutes or so, and just encourage any questions that are coming through. So we have one question for the ASEAN Centre for Energy, which is what multiple benefits is ACE currently focusing on through their work, and what do you think are the priorities for ASEAN moving forward? I was wondering if Rio or Adela could answer that question.
Yeah, Emily, can you come again with the question? Sorry.
Yeah, Rio. So what are the multiple benefits that ACE are currently working on, and what do you think the priorities are for the region moving forward?
Yeah. Thank you, Emily, for the question. So as I highlighted already in my presentations, that give illustration that ASEAN actually energy efficiency corporations goes beyond economic imperative, but not also the matter of the economic imperative. It's also concerning about the benefits of the energy efficiency to the energy security, accessibility, and also the environmental protection. As Adela mentioned, as articulated in the PIPE 2016-2025, the ASEAN committed to reduce energy intensity by 2020 in order to able to bring the energy into more affordable sustainability, and also improve the accessibility of energy to all. So this is something that ASEAN would like to leverage the benefits, the multi benefits of energy efficiency beyond the energy saving and also the greenhouse gas emissions in the future. And so the priority actually on energy efficiency has been articulated in the outcome-based strategy as described by Adela, my colleague, in the presentation. So we are working on how to bring the greater involvement of energy private sectors. Also related to my presentation about positive externalities. So the public-private partnership is more critical collaboration that we're going to encourage in the future in order able to bring all the theoretical things about energy efficiency into actions. So this is something that we're going to really push forward to like find what is the financial business model appropriate to the situation of energy efficiency development in ASEAN, and how to push forward also the market-based financial as one of key driver to push to bring the energy efficiency benefits in ASEAN. So financial and also including a public-private partnership is more critical priorities in ASEAN in the future in order able to bring all the theoretical things about energy efficiency into action in ASEAN member state. Yeah, that's my answer. Amalie.
Thanks for that, Rio. So I'm going to kind of combine a couple of questions together. So there's a question about a concern over how a Ministry of Finance would view energy efficiency subsidies, essentially, to support more efficient air conditioners, because it only benefits part of the population and not everyone. And you know, I think that there are a lot of ways to look at this, but one of them is that even where an energy efficiency program directly benefits only a subset of consumers, in fact, energy efficiency tends to bring down the cost of energy overall, because the cost per kilowatt hour saved tends to be lower than a cost per kilowatt hour produced. So over time, you lower the cost of energy for everyone. So I mean, that's part of the answer, that it's important to look at the bigger picture. Another important element to add is that we see in our work on cooling that the penetration of air conditioners is set to grow significantly in the ASEAN region, and so it's actually an important problem to get ahead of now, because if you wait until the penetration of air conditioners is really high, and all of those air conditioners, or a lot of them, are not efficient, you're putting a really strong burden on the energy system and oftentimes on the peaks, and that imposes a really big environmental and financial cost. And linked to that, there was also a question of whether a country's energy market authority tends to play a role in energy efficiency. And so I'm not sure whether here it's, I mean, the energy market authority can mean a different thing in different countries, but I can say that oftentimes it's important to engage the energy regulator, who often oversees part of the energy market, but also the regulated part of the energy system. It's important to engage them in discussions about energy efficiency, because traditionally it's not considered from a systems planning perspective, or even from a market perspective, as a resource on the system, as a resource that can participate, for instance, in a capacity market if you have one, or as a resource that can help reduce costs of generation or transmission and distribution. So oftentimes you don't have an active role from the energy market kind of regulation side, but it can be very useful to engage the authorities, because there are examples in many countries where when you do engage the regulator, you end up with a more kind of balanced package of policies and lower cost overall energy sector.
There's also a question about where to start when you're wanting to start an energy efficiency program, and whether that should be from the government or non-for-profit or NGOs. So I guess one of the most effective drivers for change in terms of energy efficiency is by developing policy or regulation. So that obviously comes from the government, but as an NGO or a consumer group, there are certain actions that you can take to raise awareness of consumers about picking better products, for example, about the benefits of energy efficiency. The most effective programs begin with government. Do we have any other questions? If not, we'll end there. And I'd like to thank everyone again for making the time to join our webinar today. And please fill out our survey and let us know what you want to hear about next. And thank you again to the ASEAN Centre for Energy for their collaboration on this webinar. Have a good afternoon.